You know what this is? This is a 12.5-pound sledgehammer. And you know what we're going to be doing today? Breaking some rock. So you saw episode 1, and if you've been following the updates, we've been testing out and sampling the dump, the mine dump, to see if we could get any free gold out of that. Turns out there's a lot of galena, mercury, arsenic, a lot of nasty stuff in there. So that's too much for the micro miner like we are. So what we're gonna do from reports is there's free gold in the limonite, which would look like really dark soil, brown dirt. And we're gonna go around. We saw that quartz cropping. We're gonna go check that out. We're gonna walk around the claim and do some prospecting, and we're gonna crush some rock today. So we got our rock crusher over here all set up. I'll show you that in a little bit. That's pretty cool, especially if you're a small miner, micro miner. You want one of these things. This is the miner's best friend. So I'll show you what that's all about and the custom mount that I made for the vehicle. I'm John McGrath, and you're watching Internet Gold Miner. Let's go break some rock. Okay guys, we're at spot number 1 here. Now here's the thing that I like to do, or that you should do if you really are serious about this. I'm going to mark this spot with my GPS. I'm going to make a waypoint here and mark it like quartz sample 1, and mark it down. We'll take our sample. Actually, before I take the sample, I'll take a photograph of the sample, and then we'll crack it and bring a piece up to the rock crusher and set it aside for crushing. We'll crush everything all at one crushing session instead of pull starting that thing. And yeah, it's trying to work smart is what you want to do. And we'll go to a couple sections on the claim and see what we can find. This is a quartz rock, like a dirty quartz with some iron in it. That's why I'm calling it dirty. And there is some metals that I can see in it, so I figured it's worth testing. There is quartz and gold here in this area, so we'll check it out, and we'll move on to the next one. Got the smaller sledge and this big rock breaker, I guess you would call it. So we're gonna slam into this thing. Go easy at first, because you don't want to be throwing those shards around. They can really injure you, especially if you get one in the eye. So wear some safety goggles, glasses, whatever. And then we can pull out the big gun if we need to get the big gun. But start with your smaller hammer first, and we'll see if we can crack this thing open and see what's in it first of all, if there is anything, and but we'll take it back for crushing. So just go easy on it. Okay, so I'm going for the center. It's not really doing much, and I'm a little, leery about going full force into it. So I'm going to try a little side spot and see if I can crack something off on the side here, maybe this one. There she goes. Got a little chunk. You don't have to go crazy with it. I see a little green in here also. Pretty good little sample. We'll put that in the bucket. And we'll get a couple more. There's another good one. Got some green, some brown streaks. You see the quartz? Bring that up and show it to you. And we'll try and get a little bit more into this guy here. Let me see if I can use one of these. This is the one you got to watch out for. Because every time I'm swinging it, it's hitting me. So that's probably not going to be very good. But I made a little notch, so hopefully we can crack it good. Woo! And that ain't, that's some work. And don't miss. I got a nice crack here. I see it. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Nice. Very nice. That should probably do it for this sample. We don't want to get too crazy. Let me show you what the big one can do. Now there's no way that you could swing this like you're supposed to swing it. It gives you a little bit more weight, but there's really no way you can do that unless you have somebody holding. The other way to do this is the crazy way, and I'll show you that. Move your stuff out of the way. When you swing the sledge, you want your hands to go together and come down, okay? But the problem is, when you're swinging, everything is going to come back at you. So, like I said, you can swing to the side also, which will circumvent that, but it's a risky proposition without having somebody holding the cracker, the nut cracker. But let's do it. I'm going to go sideways. Now, as you can see, I haven't gotten anywhere. Woo! So there's no sense in trying to manhandle this stuff. I'm really out of breath. We're going to take what we have back over to the crusher and find some other sample areas. This is the rock crusher. It's a 12-inch rock crusher. You can buy them at many prospecting stores, sell them. I opted for the gas engine because I wanted to be able to use it out in the field. I also built this hookup that goes to my trailer hitch, so I can just bolt it on. It takes me approximately 5 minutes to get this set up. And pull it and go. Load it up. The material that's crushed comes out the bottom here. And we put a bucket right here to catch it. You can also get, which I probably will do in the future, some flexible tubing like at Home Depot that'll drop it down into a bucket. Keeps the dust down a little bit because this does get dusty. And speaking of that, you want to have ear protection, of course your gloves, your eye protection, and I have a dust mask also that I like to wear because that silica dust is pretty bad. So let's take a look at the samples I grabbed, and let's make sure they're small enough to fit in this hole. I'll show you that in a second. And let's get crushing. Okay, so here's our samples that I gathered. And I didn't bring the camera around to all of them. We gathered 4 sets of samples, 4 different locations. I had another sample bag that broke, pretty old, but there's that kind of sample. Pretty dark stuff that we're looking for. Okay. Pretty interesting material, right? So what I'm going to do is make sure that each of these are small enough to fit in. Some of them aren't. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. It has to fit in this hole, so of course this guy ain't gonna fit in there, so I'll have to crack it. And what I like to do is, as you can see, I've got all my tools set up out here that I like to bring with me when I'm doing this sort of thing. I'll take this rock and put it on that shovel, so I got a real hard place, and just crack it with a hammer, the smaller hammer. It should crack enough to do that. A Geo-Pick's nice too. The small shovel if you got some hiking to do, or the big shovel of course is better. Your magnetic pick, whatever you think. Harbor Freight's a good friendly place for us micro miners. It's cheap. So I'm gonna crush these up, break these up I should say, into smaller pieces, and then we'll get on to the rock crushing. I'll show you how that works. Let me show you this rock crushing setup here a little bit. That's the mount that I made that goes to the truck, if you can see that. And essentially you have a special chain, a really high tensile chain that spins around here and crushes the rock. There's a screen inside here that lets the stuff through. You can change screens for bigger screening or smaller screen, whatever you want. And essentially you got a 7-horse engine on there. I lied, 6.5 horse. And that's it. And what I made this out of was a tailgate extender. I had to do some welding, but it works perfect. I can drive around with it. I can drive around the claim with it and whatnot, and it works really nice. I wouldn't want to drive down the highway with the thing. They might stop me for that one, but let's get the rock crushing. guys, another helpful hint when you're doing this processing of material samples, so you don't get lost in the whole thing. Yes, you're keeping GPS and keeping notes. Leave a sample or two uncrushed, small ones, and just throw it in the bucket or wherever you're keeping the crushed sample. Throw it in the bucket with it so you have an idea if you do screw up, hey, I remember this material, this is this material. So at very least, you've got this material in your hand and you can go hunting around your claim. Oh, this looks like this looks like that. So just to Well, that's rock crushing, and it's a dirty, dusty job, as you can see. The camera does not really like all that dust around it, so I've kind of got to watch it with that. So I've got all these other samples to get set up so I can put in this rock crusher and I can get out of here for the day. What you need to do after this is you crush the rock, you write down or mark at least where you have that crushed material because you don't want to lose track of that. And you go and pan it out at home or run it through whatever machine you're going to run it through. I'll probably just pan it out because these are small samples. We're just looking for a couple colors in the pan, and if we got something, we'll go back to that because we know where we're at via the GPS. If you guys don't use the GPS or don't make some sort of map on your property, doing it old school and marking down where you took these samples from, you're probably not going to be able to find it. There's been many miners who took samples here and there and, oh, I forgot, I can never find the damn place again. So mark your stuff down, keep a notebook, and we'll see you next time on Internet Gold Miner. Okay guys, well now, as you can see here on the right is the I got all the samples lined up over here, and I've got my pan ready. I've got my sheet that I'm going to record the findings that we get from the samples we took after crushing, and we'll see what we have. Hopefully we see some color in there and we can proceed with, like I said, from going from prospecting to doing some mining to where we can actually produce some gold and be able to make a few dollars on it. So let's see what happens.